All right, let's take a look at the week in tech. We are joined by our CTV tech analyst, that is Carmi Levy. So, Carmi, I wanted to start because we've been talking so much about these tariffs and everything else. We talked about security for Canadians as well. We've heard some stories where some Canadians trying to cross into the U.S. are having their phones checked. Some have been turned back. So, I guess the question, as you write it, is it safe to travel with your phone right now?
I mean, I would be concerned. I wouldn't say that it's dangerous, but if I were crossing the border now, I would be taking additional precautions to ensure that I'm not exposing myself more than I should. So I would take a look at all of the apps that I have on my phone and ask myself, which are the ones that I really need, and which are the ones that could be problematic if a border agent gets a hold of my phone and starts skipping through my, say, inbox or my photos. And so the cool thing about apps today is it's not that difficult before you go over the border. Just delete the app because everything is cloud-based. And then when you get through the border, you just download the apps again, sign in, and continue on as you were. You don't have to haul around huge amounts of data on your phone anymore. So think about the things that you don't want U.S. Customs and Border Patrol to be snooping on, and then just get rid of them before you cross the border, and just make sure that your phone has the most minimized data footprint possible. And that there isn't anything there that you'd be worried about if they were standing over your shoulder. Small thing, it might take a little bit of time, but it's absolutely worth it in terms of ensuring that they aren't making a copy of every last piece of your digital life and then using it against you, not only as you cross the border, but for years afterward. This minimizes the potential exposure.
Explain again for people hearing this, what do you want to delete here that kind of get you in the clear?
So if I'm concerned about, say, my photos and my messages, I would look at Google Photos and Gmail, and I would actually delete those apps from my phone. I'd literally get rid of them. And the reason being is I can very easily in 5 minutes download them again after I cross the border, sign in, and then continue as if nothing had ever changed. That minimizes how much snooping they can look into my digital life. And so you're not going to, you don't want to stand there and go, you can't touch my phone, because that's the quickest way they're going to either send you away or detain you. So what you do is you just very quietly and passively take care of your phone beforehand before you cross the border.
Okay. Now, and obviously without deleting those photos, because you don't want that to happen, so this would not do that.
Well, exactly, because if you're deleting the Google Photos app, you're not actually deleting anything on your phone, and that's the joy of cloud-based services. It's not stored on your phone; it's stored in the cloud. So if you get rid of the app that connects to all of that data in the cloud, well, there's nothing for Customs and Border Patrol to search for now, is there?
Fair enough. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. If they decide, for whatever reason, you've deleted your pictures or whatever else, maybe they start looking through your text messages. First of all, with respect to your password, right? Do you have to give them your password? Well, I'm asking stuff perhaps you don't necessarily know, but you can't delete that.
There are varying legal opinions about that, and so it's probably not a bad idea to go through your messaging streams as well, and maybe get rid of things that aren't relevant or that are particularly sensitive. If you're the kind of person who stores sensitive information in your inboxes and text messaging system, then I would suggest you might want to no longer do that, and just delete them so that there's less for them to see. You can't delete the text message app on your phone because that's sort of integral to the phone, but you certainly can reduce the data load before you cross the border. So I would be doing that. I'd be doing what I call a cull, just kind of go through stuff and go, yeah, that's problematic. That's really sensitive. Maybe that's some personal information, maybe some financial information I don't want them to see.
Sure.
Just do an audit of your phone and make sure that you're comfortable in case you have to put the phone into an officer's hand, that you're comfortable doing so and not worried that you're giving them too much.
When I brought this subject up earlier in the week, we talked about someone, a security expert on this, and who actually suggested, I think, that maybe just get a burner phone, leave your other phone at home.
Yeah, that's certainly a reasonable idea, especially because burner phones aren't just basic feature phones anymore. In other words, you can buy a burner phone that also has smartphone features that can take apps as well, because as we know, when we travel, increasingly we're using smartphones that have apps on them in order to travel. That's how we get all of our information from the airline or the information while we're on the road, and so we kind of need them. That's a really great sort of opportunity to have your cake and eat it too. Have the services and the functions of a really good phone while you're on the road, but still not exposing yourself more than you're really comfortable doing so.
All right. Let's focus on the election we have coming up. I did not know this. Elections Canada. Maybe we should not be surprised. Been in touch with some social media platforms about election myths or disinformation. What's this about?
Yeah, our chief electoral officer, Stéphane Perrault, he has reached out to a number of platforms. He says specifically X and TikTok. I guess there are more, but these are the ones that he's gone public with, basically asking them to help the government ensure that this election is a secure one, so that if there are any issues that come up, if they identify any threats to the electoral system, or if any parties are being targeted or candidates are being targeted or there's misinformation on social media, that they will take action to reduce it. And so far, TikTok actually released a press release over the weekend saying they're, quote, shoring up their efforts to safeguard their platform during the Canadian federal election. So TikTok has kind of promised, which is nice. X hasn't answered. Unclear if Mr. Perrault also reached out to Meta or Snapchat or others, but I'm presuming he did. But the fact that they're not being specifically mentioned means not quite sure what they're planning to do as well. And, I'm kind of torn on this one. On the one hand, I'm really glad to see our chief electoral officer recognizing that this is a problem. But at the same time, it's almost like Canada begging big tech American companies to, please help us during our election. It's really not a significant argument, and certainly I wouldn't expect Mark Zuckerberg to be kind of holding his breath and like, I've got to drop everything and help Canada during their electoral time of need.
Yeah.
We know exactly where his political stripes are. We know exactly what the priorities of big tech companies are, and they certainly aren't, doing the Canadian government's bidding. So it's good to see, but I don't think we should expect any miracles here. We're still going to see misinformation. We're still going to see meddling. We're going to still see all sorts of toxic stuff on our social media platforms during the election campaign. And as Canadians, we got to be ready for it.
All right, let me move on to this next story, because when I first saw that you put this in, I'm like, Napster's still around? So Napster just sold for over $200 million. I thought no one used Napster anymore.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because it was founded in 1999. It became easily this sort of huge platform. Millions of people were illegally downloading music. They got sued by pretty much everybody, and by 2001 they were in bankruptcy. But it was kind of a funny thing in tech. Sometimes, companies like this sort of stick around like zombies below the radar, and that's kind of what happened with Napster. It's been bought and sold a whole bunch of times. They've tried a number of different things. It exists now almost as kind of a cheap alternative to Spotify or Apple Music. It's basically a music streaming platform. But now this company called Infinite Reality has paid what I would call a significant premium, $207 million US. It's a lot of money to pay for a near defunct brand. But they're saying they're going to create a social music platform for musicians and the artist community. So if you're a musician, you'll be able to create a virtual 3D space so that your fans of your music can attend concerts and listening parties, and that you can create a sales platform to sell them merch. And basically, It's like being at a concert, but in a virtual space, which sounds really neat. But again, I haven't seen that demo yet. They've just promised it. And this is a company that, quite frankly, last time we were talking about them was being sued into oblivion. So I'll reserve judgment till they actually deliver on it.
So should I delete my LimeWire account too, Carmi? Would that be a good idea? Or?
You may want to hold on to it, because maybe it'll be worth something at some point. Maybe someone will pay you for it. Who knows?
Remember all those things that, it seems like this is that's ancient history as far as these things go, right? But it's really, 15? Napster was still around 10 or 15 years ago, wasn't it?
It was. In fact, it's been around all along. It just hasn't been getting a lot of headlines. And I think, Infinite Reality could have picked any other company, could have picked any other brand, but I think they're going for notoriety. We're talking about it because
you're
of
right.
Napster, so I'm guessing mission accomplished. And the tech industry loves retro. There's a reason why Atari is one of the most beloved brands in all of technology. It keeps coming back from the dead time and again. And in fact, it's one of the most respected names in gaming still, 50 years after it was founded. I think that's kind of cool.
Amazing stuff it is. Carmi Levy, thank you, Carmi. Appreciate it.